Kennedy, good work today. I only just heard the news. But is it true that your plan was accepted at the most recent meeting? I know I shouldn't be asking this, but I want to confirm it's true.
That's right. I'll be in charge of the project from here on out as well.
Congratulations. That is so amazing to hear.
This is my first time ever being in charge of such a large project. Seems that all of my hard work is finally beginning to pay off, and the higher-ups are noticing me.
You've been putting in a lot of work this past year as well, right?
I plan to make you a part of the team on this project, so please do your best for me. I want to see you put in every bit of effort you've shown me you can do.
What, are you serious? Thank you so much. But is having me on your team really okay with you? I only joined the company a year or so ago. So I'm not sure it's fair to someone as new as me to be working on a project such as that.
But you're getting to the point now where you've shown promise and should be allowed to work on larger projects. If you want to have the most experience possible, you have to have worked on all sorts of projects in this company.
Thank you so much for mentioning that. I'll put in every effort that I can to make sure this project is a success.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. And as long as you listen to all of my direction, there is no way you'd ever fail me. So please relax and do exactly as I instruct you to.
And with you as my leader, I won't ever have to be worried. You are so young, and yet you have already had a plan of yours accepted and are in charge of a massive project now. Amazing.
You don't have to keep praising me. I still have a long way to go still before I can be as amazing as some of our higher-ups. But I do enjoy working a lot.
I like to think you are far more amazing than you think. Not only can you get your job done perfectly every time, but you are also one of the most beautiful women in the office. No matter how busy things are at work, you are always looking good and have all your makeup and everything in order. As both my former trainer and as a woman, I really look up to you.
Wow, you are so great at complimenting me, Ashlyn. But you have a very good point. Out of everyone in our department, I am the hardest worker and look the best while doing so.
I know. That's what I've always been thinking.
In the past, I was getting all kinds of really good looks from the men in this office. It was kind of a tough time for me then, always having to dodge all their comments about my looks.
All of the men? That's incredible.
But I'm not the type of woman who likes to have any workplace romances. Not only is it a pain in the butt to have to work in the same place as your partner, but you also begin to focus more on them and not at the work at hand, right? And I've always been the type of woman where if I have time to go out with someone, I'd rather use it to work.
Fell in love with someone in the office, I'd probably end up having to quit because I wouldn't get any work done. You really are so stoic.
If you want to become a woman like me who gets all their work done perfectly, you have to become self-disciplined.
Is there anything else I should be doing to become as amazing as you?
Just continue to do what people like me do. I think in your case, all you have to do is follow in my footsteps, and you'll become just as good as I am when it comes to work. I think you still have quite a bit of time and room left to grow into the powerful woman I've become.
Understood. From now on, I'll be paying even closer attention to you and making sure I jot everything down.
I love the fact that you are such a good listener. You make me want to keep taking great care of you.
Thank you for saying that. I really want to make sure I can end up like you, so that I too can get all my work done properly the first time, and can be relied on like by this company.
Okay, then I'll make sure to put you to work. Now, when the time comes that you have to join my team, please bring your A game.
Okay, and please take great care of me as I continue to follow in your footsteps.
Ashlyn, have you heard the news? William is having to take some time off now.
His wife just had their baby and everything, right?
But his wife is already on maternity leave, right? Is there really any reason for Williams to be taking time off himself to be home when she's already there with the baby?
I'm sure she's just worried about his wife and how she's going to be doing. She did just have a baby after all, and that is a labor-intensive job within itself. And from how Williams has always talked about his wife, he seems like he's a very caring and loving husband.
I do find it great that he wants to take care of his wife and all, but he should also be thinking about the responsibility he has towards us. With him not around the office right now, you and I are going to have to pick up the slack for him. And right now is the start of our busiest time of the year.
I suppose we will have to pick up the slack for him now that he's out of the office.
I've noticed that all of the people here that have children take a lot of time off, right? They have to take days off when their kid is sick or when their kid has a sports event or school event to go to. They take a day off. And each and every time those employees take time off, the rest of us have to pay for it. But in this day and age, we can't complain about it or else we'll be canceled or whatever the kids call it.
But don't you have a kid as well, Kennedy? At least that's what you told me before. Yet I've never seen you taking any days off or anything for them. What do you normally do with your kid when they're sick or have to go to some kind of an event?
Well, I just make sure my kid doesn't ever get sick or have to have me take them anywhere. That's why I never have to take any time off. I've made sure that in order to not cause anyone within the company any trouble, to not let things like my kid get in the way. My husband is also away for a long time on business, so it's really only me who's home to take care of them if anything goes wrong. But that's why I make sure that nothing ever goes wrong with them.
I never knew your husband was not living together with you, Kennedy. But wow, you're like a single mother then, right? If your kid was in middle school or high school, I could understand not having to worry so much about them when it's just you. But your kid is still in elementary school, right?
Only in 4th grade, actually.
So they still require a lot of your attention and help, right? You have to still make food for them when they are home from school.
That's true. There are plenty of things I still have to do for them when I'm at home, but I can't just leave my child to handle everything themselves, so I'm doing what I can to make sure they stay alive. I make sure that they get their breakfast in the morning and dinner in the evening. And from time to time, I'll have a look at their homework and make sure they're learning everything okay.
And on your days off from work, you take them to the amusement park.
That's right. Whenever we have time off, I like to make sure we have a lot of fun together.
You have always been so busy with work, Kennedy. Yet you are still making so much time to be home taking care of your kid all by yourself. Is there anyone else in this company as amazing as you? I think you're the only person I know here that has to balance both a lot of responsibilities at work and a lot of responsibilities back at home.
I like to think that anyone who isn't able to handle both their job and their children at the same time are failures to society. They're the kind of people who will never achieve anything in life and most definitely will be causing trouble for others.
I am still single and have not found myself a man, but in the future, I don't think I'd ever be able to manage all the work that you have to do as a mother. You are such an amazing person. I bet your child is very happy to be yours. I know I would have been happy to have a mother like you.
But as kids, they have no choice in who their parents will be. There are plenty of parents who use having kids as a way to slack off at work. And there are plenty of people who use work as a way of slacking off at home. I really hate to think about those that can't do both at the same time and succeed.
Understood. Every time that I go home from work, there's this park I pass by. And in that park, there's always this lonely-looking little girl playing by herself. I always wonder if her parents are ever worried about her. Something tells me her parents never really care about her at all. Telling by how sad she always looks.
You're saying that you see a girl playing all by herself in the park on your way home from work? When it's dark out? That's so sad.
I always just take a quick glance at her, but every time I do, she always looks worried and upset, which just got me a little worried myself for her.
I'm sure whoever that girl's parents are, they had her without being ready to become parents just yet. I would be so ashamed of myself if I were her parent.
Good job at work today, Kennedy. I've just finished my last phone call with one of the customers, so I'll be heading out now.
Good work today, Ashlyn. I'm going to stick around the office a little longer to finish up some paperwork.
Recently, you've been having to stay really late to finish everything up. Are you ever going to sleep?
I just really want to get all my tasks done on time. And since this is my first time being in charge of a project of this size, I do not want to fail.
I'm sure that's a good reason to stay and work all the time. I'm sorry for heading out of the office so soon.
You don't have to be sorry about that. I'm the one in charge of everything after all, so I should always be the last one out. But I have to say, like today, you've been staying later and later in the office, right? Well, please take some time tonight to really relax before you go to sleep. Well, I say that, but it's already 9 p.m., so there's not much time left before you go to bed.
Then I'll take your word on that and relax a little. But is it really okay for you to be staying at the office this late? You have a little kid at home still.
Well, today my husband should have come home from his job, so as long as he's at home now, everything's perfectly fine.
Your husband came home today? That must take a massive load off your back now, right?
Well, my husband never really bothers with things like chores or cooking, so it's not that much of a load being taken off my back. But at least having him home again does make me feel better. I would never be comfortable leaving my kid at home alone all night by themselves.
That's very true. I don't think anyone should be comfortable doing something like that. Well, we'll see you again tomorrow. And hopefully you'll be feeling just as recharged as I am tomorrow.
You don't have to be all that worried about me. But thank you for saying that. Let's you and I keep working at this project with all our energy, and soon it'll be finally completed. Hey, where have you run off to? You frickin' brat. I told you not to move from the front of the house. Hurry up and get back here so that you can finish your chores. If you are not back here in 5 minutes, then I'm not feeding you anymore. This house does not have any food in it for the lazy.
Who do you think you are saying something like that to a little girl? Kennedy, you are a lot worse than I thought. A lot worse. So it was you who had a kid before you were ready to be a parent then?
Huh? Who is this?
This is Ashlyn.
What? Ashlyn? Are you serious?
I am very serious. I'm happy to hear that you finished your work for today.
Huh? Why would you be replying to me on my daughter's phone right now? I am texting my daughter's phone right now, correct?
I am with your daughter right now, Kennedy.
I have no idea what you're talking about. What is going on here, Ashlyn? Explain all of this to me right now.
I talked with you about all of this before, right? About how every time I'd be walking home from work at night, I'd pass by a park that has a little girl playing in it. And it just so happens that the sad little girl I always have been seeing is your daughter. She was crying her eyes out today, so I went up to her to see what was wrong. And that's when I started to find out the truth.
Huh? There can't be coincidences like that, can there?
I'm just as shocked as you are right now. I guess this world is a lot smaller than we both thought. But now I understand why this little girl's been so sad and was crying today. Because you act like a freaking monster with her. I was starting to think you had the wrong number at first and weren't meant to be texting this little girl. But in her phone, your contact says Mom. So this was no mistake.
No, wait. Oh, this is a huge mistake, Ashlyn.
Tell me then, what mistake has been made that I'm not aware of? Just a second ago, you were calling her a freaking brat, right? And then you went on to say you weren't going to feed her anymore. That was scary for even me to have to read.
You have it all wrong. This is a bit embarrassing for me to have to talk about, but my daughter likes to run away from home all the time. So the reason she ran all the way to that park was because of that. She always leaves the house when I'm not looking, and so she always gets me so worked up and worried about her.
Well, what your daughter has told me is the reason she ran away is because you were trying to force her to do more chores. And normally, you're never even bothering with taking care of your own daughter. You leave her to fend for herself all the time, even though she's only in 4th grade.
That kid is lying to you then. She's at that age now where she's trying to act all rebellious. I would never let a little girl at her age fend for herself and leave my house at this time of night, right?
And tell me what all these bruises on her body are from. Have you been physically abusing her as well? Some of these bruises are very bad and look like they may need to be put ice on them. I've made sure to tell the police as well, so that she doesn't have to live through whatever nightmare you've been putting her through anymore.
Huh? You called the police? Hold on. Why would you call the police without actually talking with me first? I had no clue she was covered in bad bruises. I'm sure while she was on her way to that park, she fell down somewhere and hurt herself really badly. Kids her age are always getting really banged up.
These are not the kind of bruises that one would be getting from falling.
Do I really look like the kind of mother that would raise a hand to their own daughter? This is me we're talking about, Ashlyn.
I know. This doesn't seem like the same kind of Kennedy I've always liked and praised. But after seeing the text you were just sending to your daughter, I don't think I can call you a great parent at all. I think the police will be getting in touch with your husband now as well.
My husband?
You lied to me today about your husband having come home from work. And this whole thing about you being able to handle both your job and raising a kid was all one massive lie you told everyone in the office. I know for a fact that there are still plenty of other lies that have not been exposed yet as well from you. I had so much respect for a woman like you before Kennedy, but now all that respect has vanished.
Do not start playing games with me, Ashlyn. Give me back my daughter right now.
I'm going to have the police take custody of her first. If you want to get your daughter back, then you will have to convince the police that you are a good enough parent for her. I'm sure that the police will want to know everything about you first.
Why do I have to bother with the police right now in order to get my daughter back? I haven't been doing anything wrong.
But when your husband becomes aware of all this, I wonder what he'll have to say. If I were him, I wouldn't let you have your daughter back ever again.
You remember this one, Ashlyn? If you continue fighting against me like this, I am never going to give you any respectable work in the office ever again.
And that's totally fine with me. You're not my boss or anything, and the only reason that I ever wanted to work with you is because you trained me. I can see you didn't come into work after all. There was a very important meeting which should have involved you though. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but I had to step in and take your place.
Right now, I'm not in any condition to be working. I am most likely going to be divorced soon, so I have a lot on my plate here. That guy is taking me to court now even and making way too big a deal out of this. And this is all because of you.
So your husband had actually come home this time? Thank goodness for that. That should mean your daughter is in safe hands now, right?
Nothing about him being home now is good. It's because you went and called the police about this that everything has gone downhill. All my daughter was doing was sitting at the park. Yet you went and made what was supposed to be a family's private matter into the police's business now.
But what would have happened if you took things one step too far with your daughter? How would you have been able to take responsibility for something like that?
I tell that girl that all she has to do is hang around the house every time. Yet she always runs away from the house and the yard and goes to that park. I shouldn't have to take responsibility for any of that, right? She was the one that didn't listen to a word I said.
Really funny. Where you first screwed up was asking your daughter to go outside and stay in front of the house at that time of night.
I want to know what happened at today's meeting. There's no way they would have continued that meeting with you taking my place.
You want to hear about the meeting? If that's what's concerning you, just know that it went well and that I did a great job.
There's no way that can be true. Without me there's no point to having a meeting because I'm the only one that knows what's going on.
Sorry to break it to you, but that's just not true. That meeting went way more smoothly than any of us thought. Also, I made sure to bring up what happened yesterday to our boss, and he says that you can take some more time off work now. I made sure to tell even the higher-ups that you are very busy right now with your personal things, and so you've been given permission to stay home. Actually, they are all asking that you stay away from work for a while now as you finish up your business with your family.
What all did you tell them about yesterday? How much of what happened yesterday did you tell everyone at work?
I told them about how you went and left your kid to fend for herself, and then I explained to them that your husband found out about it and had to come all the way home. I also made sure to tell them about how I had to call the police because of it.
What the hell are you trying to do to me? Why are you going around telling other people about my private life like that?
I was asked about what happened to you by our boss. You didn't even call in today to tell anyone that you wouldn't be coming in. And today was a day of one of the most important meetings to your team and this company. So I had to explain everything I could to them about you. Everyone knows that I'm the closest employee to you. So I was asked by 5 different people about what happened.
I don't care if they're all asking you about me. You should not speak about my family's private business. Come on.
But that is something that will be coming up later, I'm sure. Everyone in the office was talking about you and needed to know what happened that would cause this department's most accomplished employee to not show up to work. And I'll have you know that within one day, the view everyone had of you changed completely.
Do all of our other coworkers know about this as well?
It seems that our boss made a formal email about which he sent to everyone.
You did all of that in order to make me fail and take my place, didn't you? You are stealing my position from me now, right?
The only person I told about this was our boss. They went and talked with someone else about you, and then things spread like a wildfire here. That's what happens when the person everyone thought they knew turned out to be much, much worse. I don't think there is one person in this office building, in this company, that doesn't know about what happened.
Why did you do this to me? I have been working my butt off for so long to make sure I looked perfect in the eyes of the company. I won't even be able to go into that office anymore now.
You wanted to look perfect? Well, don't worry about any of that now, because it seems that most people could see right through the mask you always put on, and that most of the employees here do not like you at all. They haven't liked you at all for a long time now.
What are you talking about right now, Ashlyn? There is no way everyone has been hating me for a while now.
But from the way everyone was already talking about you, that was the vibe I got. Many of them were saying they knew you were trouble, but they didn't think you could get any worse. And others said they never expected you to be a child abuser, but at the same time got that feeling from you. Not a single person has doubted what's been said about you today, which means most of them knew this was a possibility from you.
Why? Why is everyone acting like that about me now? Why is everyone accepting me as some kind of a monster?
A lot of people thought something was up with you since you always wanted to be the last person in the office after hours. They all knew you had a daughter at home as well, and that your husband was away from home for some time now. So how come you would stay so late while having a daughter who was still very young? Also, when it came to the way you spoke, you always made yourself look like the most amazing person ever. Whether that came to your life at work, outside work, at home with your child, you have always sat on that high horse of yours, talking like you were the best at everything. And a lot of people here could tell many of the things you brag about had to be lies.
What is all of this crap you keep talking about, Ashlyn? Has everyone been jealous of me because I'm a woman that can actually get her job done right?
No, because most of the people in our department don't really think you do that great of a job here. I'm still relatively new here, so I had no clue who was doing their work right or wrong. And considering you had been training me, I thought you had it all under control. But from what everyone else has been telling me, after not even a year of working with you, they noticed you weren't all that you cracked up to be.
You have to be joking right now. As you all know, I was made head of the team managing this major project for the company.
But from what I was told, while making up the plans for this project, you got a lot more help from others than you did yourself. Yet when the time for that presentation came, you made it sound as though you were the only one who made all of that plan up, and that nobody else could get any credit for it, right? All of those that helped you make those plans, they were pissed when you never gave them any credit.
You're wrong. I am one of the most important people to the company, and that's why I'm respected as such.
No, you're not. You're barely even worth keeping on the company's payroll now. And I know that based off of the way everyone, even our higher-ups, are talking about you.
You had always been yearning to become someone as amazing as me, right? You even told me multiple times that you really respected me. However, now you're going to change sides and stick with all those other people?
And as I said before, I can no longer respect the monster you are. Not only are you a failure as a parent, but you are also a failure as an employee as well. I'm sure you once were an all-right woman who had garnered some respect from people, but now all you are is an evil woman who has no interest in anyone else but herself. After that day, the position that Kennedy had been so happy to get and would brag about for days at a time became mine as I took over that large project. I hate to think of it as though I was stealing her job in her life, but she was in no position to be coming back into work anytime soon. She had to deal with the police and the court regarding abusing her child, and with the divorce she now faced from her husband, which left her very busy at home. In the end, it sounds like she did end up getting divorced, with her husband being given full custody of their daughter, leaving Kennedy having to pay child support for a very long time. She was also forced to pay a settlement to her husband for the damage she caused to their daughter. And it turned out after a hospital visit with the police that her daughter had suffered a concussion and 3 broken ribs because of her. This would lead to a second court hearing, where charges would be brought against Kennedy for child abuse and neglect. She was found guilty on all charges and would have to serve 5 years in prison, which to me does not sound at all like enough. This would all then cause her to lose relationships to all her friends and family, as well as lose her job working at our company. Of course, there was no avoiding any of this for her, as she had already sealed her fate by even thinking it was a good idea to leave her daughter at home all alone like that every day. Kennedy now sits in a prison cell, having to listen to all the other inmates cuss her out for being a horrible person by doing what she did to her own daughter, and even getting beat up sometimes to get a taste of her own medicine. A year after being imprisoned and losing almost everything, Kennedy started to become really sick, either due to her depression that she developed or her lack of an appetite. She would not get any better, as a slight fever she developed soon became very serious, and she was sent off to the local hospital to be treated. I'm not sure what's happened with her since being hospitalized, but hopefully she gets better soon so that she can get right back to that prison cell where she belongs. As for myself and what's happened with me since that whole mess, I've continued working at the same company. I have been promoted twice within a year now, and I'm doing very well for myself indeed. Everyone in the office always compliments me on my work ethics, and always questions how I became so good at my job after being trained by someone like Kennedy. It's really nice to hear everyone talk about me so often, but I'm never going to let it get the best of me and turn me into someone as self-centered as Kennedy was. And all I really care about now, besides my life at work, is how that girl is doing after being taken away from Kennedy and moving in with her dad. I hope she's healed up really well and is able to smile without any worry in her heart again. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. And we look forward to seeing you at the next story.